And welcome to the Aaron Katzman Show. I'm your host, Aaron Katzman, where we speak about your life, your money, and your investments. And as always, we're coming to you from the spiritual and soon-to-be financial capital of the world, Jerusalem, Israel. If you like this content, this video, or any of my other videos, please hit, first of all, the like button, so we get a lot of likes, number one. Number two, if you've not yet done it, or if you have, but you've got a spouse, if you've got friends, if you've got kids, whatever, tell everybody at the water cooler at work to hit the subscribe button so we can build our subscription base. So what I want to speak to you about today is a topic which is not so much fun to talk about, but it is very, very important. And it's about what happens, God forbid, when you lose a spouse. Your spouse passes away. I want to give a few tips, okay, that's really, really important. There's more on the subject, so maybe I'll do a follow-up video. But this is something I think is really important. Okay, here's some tips that you should take care of before you get to that point, right? While you're both still alive, so that when a spouse dies, on the financial basis at least, not emotionally, obviously, but things will be a lot easier for you to deal with. The first thing I'd like to speak about is phone numbers, especially if your spouse handles all money matters. It's really important that while everybody is still alive to make order of all the professionals that you use, okay? I know this might be old-fashioned, and I've spoken to you about these before, and I've even whipped out my notebook, but it's important that you write down the contact information of your lawyer, okay, your accountant, your financial advisor, and as well, print out recent statements of pension accounts, brokerage accounts, bank statements, anything that you have in your names, print it out, okay? The most common problem that I see is that everybody does everything online. And then when a spouse dies, the survivor needs to start trying to figure out passwords, how to get into the online access, and it's a nightmare. It's very, very difficult in certain aspects. It can take years before they can actually access the account. So I beg you, okay, old-fashioned, write down all that contact information of your accountant, your lawyer, your financial advisor on a piece of paper so that it's easily accessible for both of you. Make a will, okay? Super important, okay? I'm no lawyer. I don't even play one on TV, but it is important to write a will, especially in Israel, right, where the inheritance law ensures that all relatives of the deceased will benefit from the inheritance money. What's that mean? Okay, it's split 50-50. If you've got children and you've got a surviving spouse, it doesn't, all the money, the default is that the money doesn't go to the surviving spouse. Rather, it's split 50-50. The only way to override that default is to have a will. And when you have a will, then you dictate where you get the money. I've tragically seen situations where an elderly parent and the children weren't on such great terms. And believe it or not, the elderly parent didn't have enough money in the inheritance that they got in order to make ends meet, and the kids threw the parent out. They were living in an apartment, they threw them out. So it's really important that you actually codify in a will where you want your monies going so that it doesn't, especially if you're in Israel, it doesn't go according to the default and you have to split it 50-50 with your children. Also in Israel, there is what is called Arichut Yamim, very important in the local bank. If you don't sign this, the default again is that a joint account, a joint bank account will become frozen at the point of death of one of the account holders, unless you have this particular designation signed. Certain US brokerage firms as well have a similar form, right? A joint account with rights of survivorship. If you don't sign that form, also, the surviving spouse may find that their money has been frozen. So you really want to avoid that at all costs and get these forms signed correctly. What do you do first? So your spouse passes away. What do you do first? First of all, you want to set up meetings with your accountant, your lawyer, and your financial advisors. These professionals, unfortunately, and at least I'm saying unfortunately, have lots of experience in dealing with all the various issues that may arise. And we can help guide you through this process, right? Suddenly there's gonna be a lot on your plate and you don't know where to start. It's very overwhelming. In fact, right before I started recording this, I got a call from a lady actually in her 90s whose husband did everything financially. And she begged me to come over to her house. She's not very mobile. She begged me to come over to her house because she doesn't even know where to start. And it's not just, she might have an account with me, but there are all kinds of other financial issues. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know what papers to keep, what to throw away. So unfortunately, this happens. So here's important issues to deal with sooner rather than later. Number one, retitle all accounts. You're going to need to remove the deceased spouse from any joint account. I strongly urge that when you're retitling accounts, it's important to either add a joint account holder or give a power of attorney to someone, generally a trusted child. You should live and be well, but if something catastrophic happens where you become incapacitated and you can't make decisions, your money is de facto frozen. And that's the time where you need the money the most. It's the most important for you. And there's nobody to speak to, your advisor or to your bank, in order to get the money moved, let's say, or sold. So you really need to have somebody else on your account that you trust that can help access money in times of need or trouble. Number two is life insurance. Start the process of collecting the benefits that you're supposed to get from any life insurance policy that might be out there. Call your agent and she will guide you through the benefit process. Number three is to probate the will. Call your lawyer and have her walk you through the process. If all is in order, it shouldn't take too long, maybe a couple of months. If there are complications and somebody decides to challenge, you might be looking at a process which can take years to clean up. So it's better to start soon. Okay, benefits. Contact Social Security, or in Israel, Bituach Leumi, to inform them of the death. If your spouse was receiving benefits, they'll be stopped automatically. Okay, you can then apply for survivor benefits. The death of a spouse is emotionally devastating, and you need time to mourn for sure, and to get yourself back on track emotionally. But you do need to continue living, okay? By implementing some of these tips, you can start taking control of your financial situation, which to some degree will enable you to help begin the healing process. Okay, nobody wants to talk about this. It's not fun, but we all get older and it's important. And you want to take care of yourself. You want to make sure you're doing things correctly financially. I know it's hard, okay, but some of these tips are going to help you get headed for sure in the right direction. You've been tuning into the Aaron Katzman Show, where we speak about your life, your money, and your investments. If you liked this content, be sure to hit the like button. And if you've not yet done so, I beg you, subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your spouse, subscribe. Hit the button below and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will speak to you soon.